Hello folks, I'm Ronald Mehta and welcome back to Digit.com. We are your digital aid and we provide free courses on the subject of business and marketing. In this video, we are going to take a brief stab on the topic of store design along with live examples and case studies. Let's start with the first one.
So now let's start with a brief introduction on store design.
Customers no longer go to a store to merely buy a product or avail a service. Shopping is an intensely personal activity and is all about experience. The expectations from a retail store have changed. The concept of a retail store design covers all aspects of the design of a store, ranging from store frontage, signage, furniture, merchandising, display, lighting, graphics, point of sale, and decoration. Moving on to the objectives of store design. First, implement the retailer's strategy. The design must be consistent with and reinforce the retailer's strategy by meeting the needs of the target market and building a competitive advantage. The design should also be inviting to the customers. Next, influence customer buying behavior. Retailers would like the store design to attract customers to the store, enable them to easily locate merchandise of interest, and keep them in the store for a longer time. Further, they would like to motivate them to make unplanned, impulse purchases and provide them with a satisfying shopping experience. Moving on, provide flexibility. As merchandise changes, so must a store's image. Thus, store planners attempt to design stores with maximum flexibility. Flexibility can take two forms: the ability to physically move store merchandise and the ease with which merchandise can be rearranged. Next, control design and maintenance cost. For instance, the freeform design found in many specialty stores is more costly to construct and maintain than a design involving rows of shelves in a discount store. But the freeform design also encourages customers to explore more of the store and thus increases sales. Moving on to store design principles. First, the element of totality. The entire store has to be conceived as one unit, which draws upon the retailer's very reason for existence, that is, his vision and mission statement. At the same time, the type of merchandise has to be kept in mind. The entire store, right from the store entrance to the type of fixtures used to display the merchandise, has to come across as one entity. That is the principle of totality. Next comes focus. The second principle is focus, wherein while aspiring to create a beautiful place for the customers to shop in, the retailer should not forget that the primary focus within the store has to be the product or the merchandise. Achieving sales is the primary step towards being sustainable in the long run. Next, ease of shopping. The store has been created for the customer. It has to be easy for him or her to navigate, easy to access, and most importantly, simple to understand. No one wants to visit a store where shopping is cumbersome and tedious. And finally, change and flexibility. This fast-moving world of the customer means that retailers have to rethink their strategies. It entails having to think more and more about how the design of the stores will cope with the short and long-term future demands of their business and consumers. Now moving on to an important topic of store design elements. Any store design is split into three elements. That is, number 1, exterior store design, number 2, the interior store design, and number 3, store layout. Please note, store layout will be covered in the next video. Let's start with the exterior store design. The exterior look of the store that draws a customer to the store is the first impression that a customer has of the store. Interesting window displays, an impressive building, and an inviting entrance all work together for the store. Simple things like the manner in which the store name is written also play a part in attracting the customer's attention. The architecture of the building is a combination of the frontage and the exterior of the building, the display space, and the health and safety provisions provided. Some retailers use the exterior of the store to showcase their new campaigns. Now, exterior store design is further split into two elements, first being the store marquee. The store marquee is the first mark of identification of the retailer or the retail store. It helps the retailer identifying the store and attracting customers and is an integral part of the building facade. Examples entail Starbucks Mermaid, Ronald McDonald's, and Colonel Sandals from KFC. Moving on to the other element of exterior store design, the storefront. The storefront is a reflection of the personality of the store. The storefront and store exterior should be inviting for a customer to actually enter the store. A cluttered, dirty storefront will be one of the first factors which will actually deter a customer from entering the retail store. Storefront is typically straight front, angle front, or arcade front. The straight front runs parallel to the sidewalk. Angle front is one which is at a slight angle to the traffic, and arcade fronts are usually spacious. They allow the window merchandise closely. Moving on to the other element of store design, which is the interior store design. Interior store design is a function of the aesthetics within the store, the merchandise sold within, and the space used for the same and the overall layout of the store for selling the merchandise. Interior store design entails space planning, atmospherics and aesthetics, and the element of store layout will be covered separately. Let's start with space planning. Space planning helps a retailer determine the amount of space available for selling and for storage. It also helps determine the following, that is the location of various departments and various products within a department and the creation of planograms. The pros and cons of specific locations, impulse products, destination areas, seasonal products, products with specific merchandising needs, and adjacent departments, typically complementary goods. And finally, space planning also entails the relationship of space to profitability. Let's look at further elements within space planning, with the first being amount of traffic. The first factor that is to be taken into consideration is the amount of traffic generated by that department and the potential sales. Items having high demand and a fair amount of traffic are not necessarily placed near the entrance of the store. They're usually located in low traffic areas. Products like fragrances, jewelry, cosmetics, which are largely impulse items, may be placed near the entrance of the store. Products like menswear, women's wear, children's wear, and casual wear are placed at higher level in multi-level stores. The other factor is cross-mix merchandising. It enables a customer to visualize how various products would look together. For example, in the women's wear section, handbags and footwear and accessories may be placed in a coordinated manner along with the clothes. Retailers very often resort to merchandising similar products together. This enables the customer to efficiently use their time while in the store. Placing similar products together inside the store is called creating a shop interior, anchor area, or niche. This is sometimes called creating a store within a store. Next, trial rooms. An essential element of space planning, especially in apparel stores, is the trial rooms which have to be budgeted for. It needs to be remembered that this often ignored area of the store is where a customer actually makes a decision on buying the product, especially for an apparel. While trial rooms need to have enough space for the consumer to move around and look at the apparel that he or she is trying on, they also need to be accessible and not at the ends of the floor as is commonly noticed in countries like India. Many online retailers have also introduced virtual trial rooms where customers can see themselves in different dresses without actually trying them or wearing them. Moving on to the other element under interior store design, that is atmospherics and aesthetics. Atmospherics is a design of an environment with the help of visual communications, lighting, color, music, and scent to stimulate customers' perceptions and emotional responses. Aesthetics, on the other hand, takes into consideration factors like actual size of the store, the color, textures, etc. used within the store to create a particular look and feel for the store. Further sub-elements under atmospherics and aesthetics include fixtures, flooring and ceilings, lighting, color, music, scent, graphic, signages, and display. Please note, graphic, signages, and display would be covered in the video along with store layout, which is the next video. Now let's look at these sub-elements briefly. Starting with fixtures. Fixtures are used for storing and displaying merchandise. They may be floor fixtures or wall fixtures and are manufactured in various materials like wood, glass, steel, and synthetic. Examples include tables, racks, stands, shelves, gondolas, bins, and other material which may be used to display merchandise. Next, flooring and ceilings. Flooring and ceilings in the walls work together in creating an image. Ceilings house the air conditioning and the lighting. The right lighting is necessary for the merchandise to be seen in its true color and form. A store may adopt different types of flooring depending on the image it strives to create. Next, lighting. The lighting scheme to be adopted for the store has to be done keeping in mind of products being sold in the store and the target audience. Lighting is used to highlight merchandise, sculpt space, and capture a mood or feeling that enhances the store's image. It can also be used to downplay less attractive features that can't be changed. A good lighting system helps create a sense of excitement in the store. For instance, lighting works brilliantly in jewelry stores, highlighting the aesthetics of the jewelry. Moving on to color. The creative use of color can enhance a retailer's image and help create a mood. Warm colors such as red and yellow attract customers and gain attention, yet they can be distracting and even unpleasant. Fast food restaurants often use warm colors to facilitate rapid turnover. In contrast, cool colors like blue and green are relaxing, peaceful, calm, and pleasant. Moving on to the next sub-element, music. Music can either add or detract from a retailer's total atmospheric package. However, unlike other atmospheric elements, music can be easily changed. Retailers use music to affect customers' behavior. Music can control the pace of store traffic, create an image, and attract or direct customers' attention. Changing music in different parts of a store can help alter a mood or appeal to different markets. Each zone is treated to its own specialty store ambience of sound. And finally, the element of scent. Many buying decisions are based on emotions, and smell has a large impact on our emotions. Scent in conjunction with music has a positive impact on impulse buying behavior and customer satisfaction. Customers in scented store perceive that they spend more time in the store than customers in a non-scent store. Retailers must carefully plan the scents that they use depending on their target market. The gender of the target customer should be taken into account in deciding on the intensity of the fragrance in a store. Finally, let's look at some store design examples. First, Apple. Apple has a spherical Apple Marina Bay Sands store in Singapore designed by architecture studio Foster Plus Partners. Built in Singapore's Marina Bay, the Apple store is completely surrounded by water, accessed via a 45-meter long underwater tunnel from the nearby shopping complex, creating the impression that it is floating. The store's main space is an open plan area with a 30-meter diameter, self-supporting glass and steel dome. Customers within the store get a 360-degree view across the Marina Bay. The final example of Starbucks. Did you know? The world's largest Starbucks is a 4-story, 43,000 square feet cafe in Chicago. The store is known for its large roastery roast, brews and packages, and Starbucks Reserve coffees from all over the world. Truly a delight.
So that's it, folks. This brings an end to the topic on store design. These are the list of sources and links referred to for the content in the video. So now let's start with store design part 2.
The store layout is a manner in which merchandise or products have been arranged in a retail store. It helps the movement of the customer within the store. An ideal layout strikes the balance between the merchandise to be displayed and productivity. It is meant to aid movement and flow of customers so that they move through the entire store. Areas within the store need to be demarcated as the prime selling areas, the impulse merchandise areas, the destination areas, and the seasonal or special merchandise areas. By balancing the destination areas and the impulse buying areas, the flow of traffic in the store can be directed. Moving on to types of store layouts. First, the grid layout. It is the most commonly used in supermarkets and discount stores. While one area of display is along the wall of the store, the other merchandise is displayed in parallel manner. It allows movement within the area and uses space effectively. It is therefore a preferred layout in many retail stores that adopt self-service. This layout works typically for supermarkets because the margins on the products are less, so the more products they stock inside a store, more revenue and margins is what they get. The next one is a racetrack layout, also called as a loop layout. The display is in the form of a racetrack or a loop with the major aisle running through the store. The aisle provides access to various shop-in, shop or departments within the store. This layout is popularly found in departmental stores. Secondary aisles within each section may link individual merchandise sections within the departments. Next is the free-form layout. In a free-form layout, merchandise is arranged in an asymmetrical manner. It allows for free movement and is often used in department stores to encourage people to browse and shop. This type of a layout may not allow for maximum utilization of retail space available. This works best for high-end designer stores where there are less inventory with higher margins. Moving on to the concept of decompression zone and circulation plan. Let's look at the concept of decompression zone first. The entrance area of the store is often referred to as decompression zone or the transition zone. This is the area near the entrance of the store where the customer is making a transition to a new environment. Merchandise placed right near the entrance is usually lost on the customer entering the store, as at this point he or she is adjusting to the new environment and very rarely does buying occur right there. Retailers use this zone to sell deeply discounted merchandise or put up a power display, offer the customers a coupon, a basket, or simply sell products like flowers. Moving on to the concept of circulation plan. Every retailer would want a customer entering his or her store to circulate through the entire store. Most retailers adopt the policy of strategically placing demand destination products and impulse products at various points in the store. This encourages people to move and browse around the store, taking in products or items which have been stocked. Many a times, a retail store may also have a separate entrance and exit. Such an arrangement necessarily requires the customers to cover a certain length of the store before exiting the store. For instance, in a supermarket, the fresh groceries may be placed at the rear end of the store. This will ultimately encourage people to browse through the store till they reach the section. Similarly, impulse purchase items like chocolates may be placed near the billing counter. Moving on to examples of store layout. In this case, several case studies of IKEA. Let's look at the first strategy of store layout used by IKEA, which is known as the maze effect. The layout of IKEA stores is like a maze, has also paved way for more creative way of thinking about how to guide shoppers. This design means you often can't see what is coming next and fear you will miss something you need if you don't continue all the way along the path. Because you know it may be very tricky to revisit a particular item later on, you are inclined to pick it up when you see it and put it in your big trolley. This ensures that the customer touches the product, which in turn generates a psychological sense of ownership over it. Next, the Gruen effect. The Gruen effect, also called the Gruen transfer, describes the moment people enter a store and are immersed in an intentionally overwhelming experience. This effect is named after Austrian architect Victor Gruen. This effect causes the customers to forget their main reason to shop, and thus they tend to make more impulse buys. Shopping can entice the senses: color, light, smell, and even taste. By using a fixed path design, IKEA applies a Gruen effect. Customers are overexposed to sound, color, light, smell, and texture. Once the Gruen effect takes over, customers dump things that they never intended to buy. Next, IKEA finally testing new store layouts. IKEA has announced plans to add more immersive elements into its store layout. The new concept, titled Home of Tomorrow, will promote sustainable living by making its labyrinthian store layouts more immersive. This entails switching product displays areas into experiential spaces. For instance, there will be sections that will make a customer part of the furniture, thus being more immersive. The next example of IKEA's Vienna store, which is defined by green facades, green roof terrace, and no car parking. With its roof terrace open to the public, potted plant life on each facade, a cafe, and even a hostel, the 7-story work depicts IKEA's missions to stand as a good neighbor in Vienna. The Vienna IKEA has around 160 large trees into its facade atop its roof, accessed via a 45-meter long underwater tunnel. What the fuck is this? Moving on to the concept of graphics. Graphics inform the customers about the product's merchandise, price, and special offers. Graphics can be of 3 types. First, theme graphics. These are graphics which relate to a particular theme being followed throughout the retail store. Next, promotional graphics. These are graphics that pertain to the promotional campaign being carried out in the store. This may be with reference to a particular department. And finally, campaign graphics. Campaign graphics are graphics related to the current advertising campaign. Let's move on to the next topic, which is signage. Signage could be broadly of 2 types. Merchandise related, which is related to merchandise to inform the customer of the location, type, prices, or features of merchandise within the store. They need to be strategically placed so that customers find them without much effort. Next, directional and instructional signs. Directional signs direct customers towards the several locations such as cash counters, service areas, washrooms, lifts, staircase, and trial rooms. Examples of instructional signs include informing persons entering the store that the store is under electronic surveillance, or maybe instructing about the malfunctioning of a lift. Moving on to store directory signage. A store directory informs the customers about the location of the various sections in the store. The most common places to find a store directory are the entrance to the store and places where customers may move from one section floor to another, for example, lifts and staircases. Fast food restaurants are some of the best users of graphics and signages. Most of the people who enter a fast food restaurant are in the process of deciding what to buy based on the signage. The best example in this case would be the signages in McDonald's and KFC. And finally, the concept of a digital signage. Digital signage is signs whose visual content is delivered digitally through a centrally managed and controlled network and displayed on a television monitor or a flat panel screen. The content delivered can range from entering video clips to simple display of the price of a merchandise. Digital signage provides a number of benefits over traditional static signage. Due to their dynamic nature, digital signs are superior in attracting the attention of customers and having them recall the messages displayed. Digital signage also offers the opportunity to enhance a store's environment by displaying complex graphics and videos and providing an atmosphere that customers find appealing. And finally, because the content is delivered digitally, it can be easily tailored to a store's market and change during the week or even the day or even by hour.
So that's it, folks. This brings an end to the comprehensive topic on store design. These are the list of sources and links referred to for the content in the video. Now let's start with a brief introduction on visual merchandising.
Visual merchandising is the art of creating visual displays and arranging merchandise assortments within a store to improve the layout and presentation and to ultimately increase the traffic and sales, which puts the merchandise in spotlight. Visual merchandising is one of the visible elements of positioning strategy. Alternatively, visual merchandising can be termed as the orderly, systematic, logical, and intelligent way of putting stock on the floor. As retailing becomes increasingly complex, creating the right atmosphere in the store and presenting the merchandise in the right manner becomes even more important. Moving on to the objectives of visual merchandising. First, to combine the creative, technical, and operational aspects of a product. And second, to draw the attention of customers towards displayed items and to enable them to take purchase decision within the shortest possible time, thus augmenting the selling process. Third, to educate the potential customers about the present merchandise in three-dimensional environment, thereby enabling long-lasting impact and recall value.
And finally, to establish linkage between fashion, product design, and marketing by keeping the product in focal point. Moving on to the tools used for visual merchandising. Let's start with the first one, colors and textures. Color increases brand recognition by up to 80% and improves readership as much as 40%. Colors are at up to 40% more than similar ads in black and white. Colors can be up to 85% of the reason people decide to buy. Texture deals with the look and feel of materials. Visual texture is a result of light reflected from any surface. Tactile texture can be rough, smooth, thick, thin, sandy, soft, warty, coarse, fine, regular or irregular. The combination of visual and tactile texture provides a definite interpretation of all items and materials encountered. Next, props and fixtures. Props and fixtures are essential elements used in creating a display in the store. As fixtures cover a major area of the store, they need to be used correctly and in keeping with the target audience for the retail store. Fixture is usually made of wood, metal or fiberboard. Taking into account the store category, budget and size, one can choose the right fixtures. Third, store windows. Store windows are often the ones that attract customers into the shop. Hence, it is an essential part not only in the design of the store, but also in terms of what the store presents visually to the customers. Window displays can focus on a particular product, a range of products, or can follow a theme. Very often, this theme is then replicated through the store. Fourth, the aspect of lighting. The significance of lighting is often overlooked in a retail store. Highlighting merchandise with the use of lights that go with it can convert a passerby into a potential customer. There are a lot of options available today for lighting up a store, including dimmer down lights, fluorescent fixtures, track lights, and directional lights. Many jewelry retailers showcase their collection in show windows by using effective lighting, which helps enhance the elegance and poise of the jeweler. Fifth, mannequins. Mannequins are typically used in a retail store environment to display the merchandise. The most common type is the life-size mannequin. They are the same size as a real person and have arms, legs, hands, feet, and a head. Most of them can be poised in different positions to give them a more lifelike look. Mannequins can thus look like males, female, or children. Some other mannequins consist of only a torso on a stand. The use of mannequins depends on the nature of the merchandise. For instance, in case of apparels, accessories can also be displayed on the mannequin, while in case of jewelry, a mannequin will be used for display of jewelry. Moving on to the strategies of visual merchandising used in apparel stores. First, create a visual experience with colors. Next, focus displays based on target audience. Then, leverage the aspect of lighting to focus on the merchandise. Then, use signage as a guide to the store. Moving on to keep the signage simple. Focus on the point of purchase. Next, focus on window displays and mannequins. Next, elevate the music experience to keep the shopper indulged. Then, look at the analyze weekly sales. Then, impeccable product placement. Then, leverage and bundle products. And finally, eliminate excessive empty space from the store. Moving on to a concept of planogram which comes in tandem with visual merchandising. A planogram is a blueprint which gives all major and minor information about the merchandise arrangements. They are considered a tool for visual merchandising. It is a tool used by the retailer that helps determine the location of merchandise within a department. It is ultimately a diagram that visually communicates how merchandise and props physically fit into a store fixture or window to allow for proper visibility and price point options. For a retailer who has a number of stores spread over various locations, a planogram is a good way of communicating how displays are to be done. This ultimately allows consistency in presentation across locations. When products are presented in the same manner across locations, the customer feels familiar and comfortable at each location. Planogram is thus created after taking into account factors like product sales, moment of the products within the product category, and the space required for the various products. Planogram normally lists the exact number of square feet used for the various products and the exact number of products to be displayed in a particular area. Manufacturers of consumer packaged goods provide the new planogram with their new products. The planogram differs from store to store. Ultimately, the objectives of a planogram include: first, to communicate how to arrange the merchandise in the best possible manner. Then, to adjust the visibility, look and presence of the product. To assist communication of retailer's brand distinctiveness. Next, to make accurate selection of product available. Next, to make the best use of profit per centimeter of shelf space. That is a lot of detail required. Then, to make certain adequate inventory levels on the store shelf or in display area. Then, to make the products look more pleasing. To provide a reasonable, suitable and inspiring product customer line. And finally, to understand the association between the space in a store, the sales made, and finally the profit. Because let's face it, every store has a limited number of space. It's finite, it's not infinite. Every inch of the store, or I would say every centimeter of the store, needs to be utilized properly. And finally, we move on to the example of visual merchandising, in this case, the brand Zara. Zara has some secret pilot stores in Spain where it mocks up design for its actual stores. Zara has an actual team of visual merchandising experts whose job entails to design and plan out every aspect of its stores in these dummy stores. They're called as pilot stores actually. They're based in Zara's headquarters in Spain, which are not accessible for public. They display upcoming collections that have never been seen publicly before.
There's a pilot store for each of Zara's categories: women's, men's, and home. These locations serve as a sample store for all Zara locations around the world. They use mannequins to show which clothing works well together to attract customers and hopefully encourage them to buy complete outfits. As Zara delivers new items to its stores, the merchandise and design of its stores are constantly changing. Each time the pilot store is changed, store managers receive photographs of the spatial layout so they can easily update their stores. There is even a fake cash register set up in the pilot stores. Architects take feedback from cashiers from actual Zara stores worldwide to understand the most logical layout in the area.
So that's it, folks. This brings an end to the topic on visual merchandising. These are the list of sources and links referred to for the content in the video. So now let's start with a brief introduction on mall management.
Mall management is defined as an overall operation and maintenance of the entire building infrastructure, including the services and utilities. It entails operations, facilities management, security, accounts, common area maintenance, marketing, leasing, and all other functions even remotely related to a mall. In the past, several malls were constructed without doing any feasibility study or rigorous market research. Though initially they were successful in attracting people, they soon went out of competition because they failed to convert visitors into potential buyers. Moving on to the stages in mall management. First, ideation, that is, to decide the location of the mall. Second, design, that is to hire architects for ensuring the design offers smooth circulation to traffic and ease. Third, construction, which entails optimizing costs and completion within the deadline. Fourth, leasing, as in in-house or outsourced. Fifth, management, which could be a professional and experienced team. Next, positioning and marketing stage, as per the catchment area and the demographics. And finally, the operational stage, which entails rent collection and revenue generation. Moving on to mall management components. There are about 6 of them. We will look at each one of them in detail, but they are positioning, zoning, promotion and marketing, facility management, financing, and tenant management. Let's start with positioning. It refers to defining the category of services offered by a mall. The primary objective of positioning is to create a distinguished image of a mall among consumers. It forms the basis for differentiating a mall from its competitors. Positioning assists in creating a distinctive image and top-of-mind recall for masses when they think of a mall. For example, when a customer thinks of purchasing a handycam or digital cameras, Sony or Canon brand comes top of their mind. Moving on. Broadly, malls can be positioned in 2 different ways. First, on the basis of offerings. As the name suggests, these malls are positioned primarily on the basis of its offering, which should be reflected through their retail mix. Offerings further can be classified under several notions such as luxury, value for money, and economy. Next, on the basis of anchors. Under this type of positioning, malls are positioned on the basis of anchors. These are classified as entertainment-based, hypermarket value-driven, and specialty-based. Moving on to number 2, zoning. In the world of retailing, customers can be broadly divided in 2 categories, namely focused buyers and impulse buyers. Focused buyers are those buyers who know what their requirements are and how to fulfill them. Therefore, they go to mall with the intention of buying and carry proper money. On the other hand, impulse buyers are those buyers who visit a mall with no intentions of buying, but if something appeals to them, then they buy. The main question is how retailers should entertain them and increase revenue. Zoning is a solution of this problem that helps retailers attract both types of consumers. Zoning is a mall space allocation or division of mall store through which mall developers find the right tenant mix, as in the retailer mix, to attract both types of customers, especially the impulse buyers. Moving on, zoning entails the following. First, it allows the smooth movement of shoppers in the mall, avoiding clusters and bottlenecks. Next, it creates a distinctive image in the minds of the customers. Third, assists in formulating the right tenant mix and placement of these tenants within the mall. Fourth, helps in the selection of the right anchor tenant. And finally, helps retailers attract both types of consumers, especially the impulse buyers. Moving on to the third component, that is promotion and marketing. Promotional events that help promote brands are an essential part of mall management. Some of the most effective promotional events include celebrity visits, food festivals, talk shows, which increase footfalls, as a result increase revenues. The common example of promotion and events organized involve fashion shows, exhibitions, book fairs, travel fairs, music contests, auditions, and talk shows. Moving on to the next component of facility management. Facility management companies provide specialized services to malls ranging from the parking and security to housekeeping and cash management. Few of facility management companies also provide soft services like pest control, cleaning, and physical and security surveillance, concierge services, and administration services. Under facility management, the various activities are classified as: first, infrastructure management. And under infrastructure management, we have elements such as air conditioning, provision of adequate power supply, safety issues related to signage, water supply sanitation, and water supplying and sanitation. Next is ambience management, which includes management of parks, management of fountains, taking care of staircase, overall look of lifts and escalators, music and overall look of the mall, and traffic management. Third, traffic management. It includes managing foot traffic into the mall and parking areas. Foot traffic management involves crowd management inside the operational area of a mall. Under traffic management, facilities are offered to malls pertain to the effective managing of crowds, both within the premises and in the parking zone. For instance, a star-shaped mall is attractive but will have a crowding problem in the center of the mall, as everyone has to pass through a central area while moving from one side to the other. On the other hand, circular malls may not face such problems of clogging, as they tend to have better pedestrian flow and less congestion. Moving on to the next component is finance management. Financial management is concerned with the acquisition, financing, and management of assets with some overall goal in mind. Accounting system to track the debt and the invoices, cash receipts and collection of income, organizing resources to deliver an efficient and effective annual audit, and finally preparation of annual property budget. And the final component of tenant management. This exercise involves close cooperation between mall management and the tenants. Both the parties need to find a common ground whilst they plan upcoming activity in the mall. Tenants need to be engaged to contribute to the different activities planned by mall management. One part of any successful cooperation is the capability to analyze and learn from the results together with the tenants. Moving on to some examples which entail world's best shopping malls. Let's start with the first one, Mall of America in Minnesota, United States. The Mall of America is a destination. There are more than 520 stores, 50 restaurants, more than 30 specialty food stores, 14 movie screens, a park and an aquarium. Other unique attractions like the Lego Imagination Center are also part of the mall. Moving on to the next one, West Edmonton Mall in Alberta, Canada. The West Edmonton Mall is synonymous as the greatest indoor show on earth. It has a whopping 800 stores, 100 restaurants, an amusement park with roller coasters, a water park, a skating rink, theme attractions, and several hotels. Next, the Dubai Mall, based in UAE. Dubai Mall features an aquarium and underwater zoo, 1,200 retail stores, a haunted house, and a virtual reality park, and is the most visited lifestyle destination in the Middle East. Next, Ala Moana in Hawaii. Located in Honolulu, the Ala Moana shopping center is the largest open-air mall. And adding to the ambience are the swaying palm trees and the beautiful Hawaiian sun. Fifth, Siam Paragon in Bangkok, Thailand. Winner of 3 prestigious awards in retail design and marketing, Siam Paragon is breathtaking. The mall has a variety of restaurants and stores, an opera hall, a movie theatre, luxury hotel, a bowling alley, an art gallery, and the Siam Ocean World Aquarium. Number 6, Mall of the Emirates in the UAE. Mall of the Emirates is mesmerizing. It has a typical fare of shops and a lot of food to choose from. The mall is also home to a giant arcade, a live theatre, and indoor ski slope. Number 7 is the Villaggio Mall in Doha, Qatar. Business Insider rates Villaggio Mall as one of the most incredible in the world. The mall has an ice rink, movie theatre, and of many stores. In the center part of the mall sits a canal that is used to transport shoppers to and fro by gondola. In addition, the ceilings are lit in such a way so as to give the impression that it is sunrise, midday, or nighttime depending on what part of the mall you are in. Number 8 is Galleria Vittorio Emanuele in Milan, Italy. Galleria Vittorio Emanuele encompasses antique and period art. Housed with barrel vaulted ceilings and glass domes, this architectural masterpiece has significant history to it. At number 9 is Berjaya Times Square in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Berjaya Times Square is rated a top mall for its size, amenities, and unique layout. There is an amusement park and musical staircase that actually plays notes.
And at number 10 is the Galleria in Houston, Texas. The Galleria provides a lot of services to the massive footfall it receives. In addition to traditional cinemas and the occasional ice skating rink, the mall also is home to 2 swimming pools, a children's play area, and 7 beauty parlors.
So that's it, folks. This brings an end to the topic on store design. Do subscribe to our channel where you witness such videos daily. Thank you and stay tuned for more videos.